Hey everyone, welcome back to Sideline Shenanigans. My name is Brian Jones. I'm your host. I have Coach Moriarty from Tippecanoe Valley High School. That's down south, right? Am I correct?
Yes, well,
Yeah.
it's more north, I guess you'd say. We're about a county away from the Michigan border, Elkhart County and Kosciuszko. We're just south of there. So,
So I live in Tippecanoe County.
okay, Lafayette, yeah.
Yes, sir. But welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Sure thing, man.
I went through and watched a few of your other interviews from other coaches. You do a good job promoting high school football.
Absolutely. All right, Coach. So, what got you coaching in the first place?
So my dad was a coach all growing up, not football, but basketball and golf. Golf was his main one. He had over a combined total. Did 35 years of coaching and for the girls and the boys side. So, and then my grandfather was big into refereeing, and my love for the game. So when I got done playing, I still kind of had that.
Mm-hmm.
Fire to be stoked a little bit, and I saw the impact that my dad had on so many young athletes' lives and what he gave back to the community, and I knew that that is something that I wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps. So,
Excellent. What core values guide your coaching decisions at Tippy Valley?
my thing is that I want to make sure that we translate what we do on the field into real life. So when we talk about work ethic and being held accountable, it's the same thing as you go to your job every day. And if you don't do your job, you let down the guy that's next to you, you let down the company that's hired you. So when you go into life, just like you would football, we want to make sure that you ensure those core values of giving 100%. So whatever you do in life, you got to give it everything you have and don't half rear end it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's putting it nicely, right? But so we practice like that, we go after our grades like that, and we play like that, and we go after things. If you put your mind to it and you go after it, it's going to be yours. And you look at the success that our players had after school, not only in college but in the workforce. They've been successful. So that makes me very proud.
Excellent. How do you balance your role as a coach, but also as a mentor?
I think a lot of the times sometimes your role as a coach is your counselor as well. And being there and listening, and I think part of that is listening is a big key factor um, to your players and making sure that you support them in whatever they endeavor they do. In other sports, because I'm a big avid for high school players playing multi sports. Like I don't want them just playing football. Um, in fact, I discourage that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I think those are some things that we can, you kind of balance back and forth. Is you realizing yes, we want to focus on football, but there's life in there too. So.
What is one drill you never skip in practice?
SOS, same old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You had a coach one day that coached with us. He coached at Tippecanoe Valley High School, and I talk about him often. Bill Patrick, a basketball coach, actually took Whitco down to the state finals, and the day before, the practice before they went to the state championship, that's when they had only one class. They went
Mm-hmm.
to the Final Four. That practice, he had an hour of fundamentals and he had an hour then of scheme. But even to the very last day, he did fundamentals. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that that's one of our key focuses is you can give me whatever offense and defense you want, but we'll try to out fundamental you. So we try to make sure that we do a lot of muscle memory and same old stuff so that we can get used to or be comfortable being uncomfortable in a good athletic position. And then that way in a game, it becomes natural.
How do you prevent burnout from both players and staff?
Oh, good question. We are in a world of burnout. Um, and add in spring football and you can practice January 1. I'm not a real big fan of that. And not to quote Bart Curtis a little bit or speak from him, but sometimes it's rude to other coaches to try to practice another sport in their season.
Mm-hmm.
So what we try to do is that, we're lucky with only having 12 days of contact by the IHSAA. So with the lifting not included in that. So we try to give them always off during the summer, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I tell them to go be a kid, like go fishing, go four wheeling, do whatever that's safe, right? But go be a kid, go fishing with your buddies, do what you want to do. Don't worry about football during the weekend, right? So we try to make sure that we limit that. I'll be honest with you, we started out
Mm-hmm.
years ago, starting practicing, even on Saturdays, coming in early Saturday mornings. And we've done away with some of that to try to let them heal a little bit and to get their mind off of football just a smidge. You always need to come back fresh on Monday. So that's some things that we've done. Now, has it put us in a bind film wise? Yes, it has. But I think the I guess the positive versus the negative. There's more positives on taking that day off a little bit to recoup and be with your family.
Okay.
Christian.
What's the culture like in the Vikings locker room?
We have a very big family. We have a great tradition at Valley. Everybody that plays there, coaches there and comes back. I'm the same case. I went away for a while to learn kind of some different schemes and different thoughts. When I coached at Lafayette Central Catholic, I was a D coordinator there. And I was also at Seeger High School, which is around your area. I got to learn from Brian Moore a little bit. So I took a little bit of pieces of everything that I learned, and bring it back home. And because I know it's a family environment, it's a tradition that I think it's different to play at Valley because sometimes you get those factors that it's like a community. You're always going to have a big crowd, so the excitement in the locker room is that your father played here, your dad wore that helmet, and so there's a sense of legacy there that I think that holds. And even in our locker room, we have pictures up of all the old state teams and the old players that used to play, and your goals to get on the wall, and there is, and they do come together. They look after each other. There's kind of a code, right? I mean, and it's God family football. We've always had that at Valley, and we preach that, and there's a pride there. So we're very fortunate to have set a good culture to where if you don't work hard, you let down the old guys that used to play too. So that helps out.
What role does team bonding play in your success?
I think it's important to have that. I mean, you got to get along, right? And it comes down to your leadership, and that's on your leaders. We try to put a lot of emphasis and responsibility on the seniors, because I think that's where your bonding starts, and looking out for each other,
Mm-hmm.
even discipline wise. Like at this day and age, we don't have to discipline much because the seniors do it. You walk on the field, they're going to get on you because they know I'm going to get on you, or they talk when I talk, right? They don't like that either. And then,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I think that's been a good starting point is if you have your seniors lead that bonding time, and it's big and it's important as a coach to kind of build that time in. And part of that bonding time is having fun, right? Football is business, right? But you have to have fun at where you work if you don't want to get up in the morning and go in at 5 a.m. every morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same theory there. So we'll have a cornhole tournament where the coaches are even involved. We have teams that try to knock us out, pizza and stuff like that. And then we let the big guys run some routes on 7-on-7. The linemen will come over to the team, right? It might not be the prettiest, but I'm telling you, if we catch a ball, you can guarantee you they explode, right? So, yeah.
What traits define the ideal Tippy Valley football player?
I would say grit. we're not going to be the most athletic. We might be in some positions, but most likely not. We're going to be the guy that's going to work at 5 a.m. in the morning, go pouring concrete. And then at the end of the day, we're going to come in and we're going to still lift and go through practice. So I would say grit. We have a lot of our players work. We bale hay. We're that type of kid that's gonna kind of got a swagger to them a little bit, which is nice to have a chip on your shoulder sometimes.
So, Coach, how do you intentionally build team chemistry?
Um, that's a good question. Assignment football. So everyone's responsible. You work as one unit, but you got to have responsibility. And so we try to make sure.
Bathroom.
So when we go through, we make sure that they have responsibility, that they do their job, and we do have accountability checks in there, and watching film and continuity. But chemistry too is built off of success. So if you have success, you want to make sure too that you celebrate. Like, get excited when you make a good tackle. Be excited for your neighbor. And same thing when you score a touchdown. Offensive linemen must run down there. There's little things that build into character along the way, in continuity and chemistry. And I think all those little things, when you have the small attention to details, is where you get your chemistry. Like, even from the way we take the field to the way we hold our hands coming out, the single file line of dead silence, the bus ride, all those things involve in the team chemistry.
Definitely. Does Tippecanoe Valley have a mission statement or a team mantra?
We always want to, we have the green machine is the offense, and definitely the wrecking crew is the defense. And our, goal is for the kids is that they understand is you want to place at that table. So when we talk about the table a lot, and striving for pain, and to try to be able to, to have a seat as a starting linebacker, starting to DN, a place at that wrecking crew table takes a lot. And so our motto, though, I guess overall, is that, we try to set a thing that nobody out hits us. Like, that day, you're not going to out hustle us. We're going to out hustle you. We're not going to be out hit. No matter how big you are, or how, we're going to take a tempo that we're going to try to out hit people, and we're going to be more aggressive and go harder. Our whole mission statement is that, basically. It comes down to it. But you want to have a place at that table when it comes to the wrecking crew. And for the offensively, we always want to go north. No penalties. And part of that, and not giving the ball up and putting the ball on the ground.
What off the field habits do you emphasize?
Weight room demeanor, and I would say the other thing is being a good role model. We always say that you're wearing your jersey. You always have the name on the back, no matter what you do. Whether it be at Walmart or in the classroom, everybody knows you play for Valley, and that you represent yourself on and off the field, and making sure that we're polite. It's a yes or no sir thing, and that we're not slouching off. We give our all or whatever when it comes to grades and doing our homework, and we want good positive reports back, and to ensure that we preach about doing things the correct way. Some of the things that we do in the off season, though, a little bit is we've had a few groups that go and help RG3 a little bit, which is where we go and help others, and then the same thing for Helping Hands in United Way. We've helped them a few times and do that as well. We try to volunteer as much as we can to give back to the community. And we try to be supportive of other sports too, and try to make sure that we attend those games.
Definitely. How important is community support to the Valley program?
I'd say it's the foundation for Valley football. We travel well. That's the one thing about Valley that call it the Death Valley Road Show, right? Because we're going to put on a show, and it travels to your town. And we do a good job of having a good base of fans, and it means more to the kids than what I think sometimes the community understands, just to see those stands fill. Um, we played Rochester Year, the Bell game. That's both sides filled, standing room only. I think at halftime last year, there's still people at the gate trying to get in. I mean, it's just a neat atmosphere that they
Crazy.
never forget, and those rival games mean a lot. And as we get into the deeper run in the playoffs, I think you'll find those other things as well. Those are important.
So, like you said, with your schedule here, you guys got Plymouth, Rochester, Hamilton Heights, Knox, LaVille, Jimtown, Western, Jonglin, and Bremen. That's a decent schedule, a tough schedule.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hate on Jonglin. They've not been good, what I've seen. But what would you say the biggest, like your biggest trap game is?
Um, with this schedule, we were in a conference 2 years ago. I mean, in Three Rivers Conference, where we were playing some smaller schools. We weren't having much success in the tournament, and so we tried to, find a conference that was comparable in size to what we are,
Mm-hmm.
and we found that for sure with Bremen and Knox. And Knox is always going to be that game coming out. Jimtown, Bremen, these are all competitors, and of course Rochester's our arch rival. Which is probably one of the best games. We couldn't lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
But adding in a county rival, not a county but a cross county rival, with Plymouth being so close, that's one that scares me right off the bat. They beat Warsaw last year, and they got a lot of returning players. But one that I would think that if you look on our schedule, that would be a trap game, it would be Western. So, and the reason I say that is because they weren't the record didn't show how good they were last year. And we played at Western, and they gave us everything that we could handle. Big physical kids that played hard, and they got a brand new coach in there with Colby that I've coached against before when he coached in Mechaniqua. And their offense is very tough to defend. You have to come up with a new defense. So that's one that concerns me without a doubt. But the whole conference in general, there's not really a week off, and hopefully those things will prepare us. I know we've had some decent success here in the past 4 or 5 years, but this is a year that I think there's no games off.
Definitely. That's like, yeah. Do you, so how, who's, like you said, Rochester is the biggest rival. Um, which team possesses the biggest challenge this upcoming season?
I would say either Plymouth or Knox right off the bat, besides Rochester, because of the way Plymouth plays. They've got a good system. They go two ways a lot. We don't. We're going to have to be in good condition coming out of the summer and be ready. And Plymouth is hungry. They're going to get any win they can to up themselves, and especially the conference they play in. We're going to have to play well to beat them. And then the next game is Knox. Coach Radke. It's just not by sheer luck that he has 400 and some wins. You know what I'm saying? He's a fantastic coach and always gets his players to play. And with Miles McLaughlin, I mean, he's a hard running kid, and last year, I mean, we held them decently, not to my complete satisfaction because they won, but it was a closer game last year. And then playing them again, in the past, we've played them in the summers when they weren't in our conference. It was a good rival. And they have the same brand of football that we do. They play aggressively and they come after the ball. And so that'll be a good competition right off the bat for the conference.
So, what's your favorite opposing field to play on?
That's a good question. I've always enjoyed going to Jimtown. I like Bremen too as well because of their tradition. I think both of those fields, you get there early at Bremen, or I remember, Jimtown. I get there early at Jimtown. When we get there, arrive at 5, the fans are already starting to fill up, and they're yelling as they walk the field. Some of those more hostile environments, I enjoy. I guess that's bad to say, but I do. I like that competition, that both sides, big crowd sort of thing. I think that they're rich in tradition, in both of those fields have been there for a long time.
Okay, Coach. So my favorite part of the episode here. This is the shenanigans part, the funny questions.
Yes.
All right. Who would you say the funniest guy in the Vikings locker room is?
The funniest guy that we have in the locker room. Boy, that is a good question, right? I would say, funny wise, would have to go with probably Kiel DeWeese has a good sense of humor, right? Kind of that dry, like always has quick wittiness about him.
Right.
And I also think, Hunter Paxton, which is very quiet, but he comes up to some one-liners sometimes that catch you off guard as a coach, where you got to kind of step back and be like, you shouldn't say that, or whatever. He's a really, and he goes hard, so it's kind of funny to hear him say some of the stuff he does. But that would be my two characters maybe on the team.
So, what's the weirdest thing you've found in a player's locker, like after the season?
When I clean them out,
Yeah.
Besides the random clothes that they have, I would say food. So we had a 3 McDouble cheeseburgers was in Wyatt Hart's locker. We cleaned. Don't know how long they've been there, and I'm surprised that somebody else didn't eat them. But yeah, I'd say cheeseburgers from McDonald's. So.
Oh yeah, that was always my pregame meal. Some McDonald's. Surprisingly, I never got sick. That's the thing about me. I was not the type of guy to get sick. All right, which one of your assistant coaches would win a 40-yard dash race?
Well, back in the day, I would have. Right, I was fast, freakishly fast. I might not look it now, but I'm telling you. But no, going through, I'd say we got a young quarterback, Cam Parker, that played tailback for us. He played for Manchester University. Now he teaches at Akron Elementary School in our system, and he's definitely the fastest at this time. So
I think you guys should test that theory and send me a video.
I might have to. We might have to shorten that up to about a 10-yard or 20-yard.
All right. So, who would you say the team mom is, even if it's a dude?
The team mom that takes care of everybody. Boy, that's a good question. Can we go with a coach even?
Yeah.
We do have, I'd say Jen, the trainer. Okay, so I will go with her because any little thing that they have a question about in life, they go to our trainer, Jen. Like it doesn't matter what it is. She's the one that has to kind of be like, you're okay. It'll be all right. So I said our team mom would definitely be Jen, the trainer, or yeah, I'll go with that. That's my answer.
All right. My final question for today is for you, Coach. Is if there was a movie to be played like about Tippecanoe Valley football, who would play you?
Oh, good. John Belushi. No, I don't. Well, I would have to. Yeah, I get a little preachy sometimes and fired up. So I'll go with like an Al Pacino sort of thing, because I do get, my wife gets a little on me sometimes when I start getting fired up. She's like, you get a little preachy at home when I say, well, you can't, if we do the trash this way, then some, so I'll go with Pacino because I'm a little
All
maybe
right, Coach.
preachy. So
all right, Coach. I want to thank you again for coming on. I think that'll do it for this episode. I'm Brian Jones. He's Coach Moriarty. Thank you for listening.